Hey, it's me again. Um, Today I want to talk about things sometimes that society expects people to do, and also things that those of us with Asperger's should do that makes us really comfortable, and like in the end, just do. The point is in the end, we should do kind of what makes us happy. Well, obviously, the world around us expects us, to, once we finish school, and whether we go to post-secondary or not, they expect us, of course, to get a job, which we have to get, obviously, and it helps if we do. However, on top of all that, we're expected to buy a house. We're expected to buy a house. We're expected to, take out a mortgage and all this kind of stuff. We're expected to get in a relationship with somebody and get married, and we're expected to have children. And that's pretty much what we're expected to do. And try to become as financially well off as we can, so we can kind of brag about, the nice house we have, the nice car we drive, all that nonsense. Well, I feel that sure, there's an element of that can be nice. Like, it can be nice to have, some materialistic things, especially if you like them. But on the flip side of that, I think some of those things are really not that important, because like, okay, having a house is nice if you want a house, and it can be a good investment. However, you have to put a lot of money into it in order for it to be a good investment, So I don't think people should get a house just because everyone else is getting a house, because on paper it looks like a good deal, but in the end, it very well can be not so great of an idea. It can be a rip-off in some ways if you don't, spend money properly. And same thing with being in a relationship. It's a great thing, and I think most people would like to get married, but it's like one of those things, you don't have to, and if you're not with the right person, then the hell with that. And having a family, well, if that's what you want to do, but you shouldn't have to because society says you should, because what if you're not a great father or mother and you don't feel comfortable in that kind of role. So I understand people are probably looking at this, me looking at this and saying, how does this relate to us people with Asperger's syndrome? Well, it kind of does, because it goes back to how, even though we have Asperger's syndrome, we still fall in the category of what society expects us to do. I think I've said before about how society expects us to drive, even though some of us are not able to do so. I'm one of the fortunate people who is able to drive, so obviously, I do. However, there's other things, that people, just the point is that, is that things are expected of us, and some of us are able to do those things and some of us not. And while it may look better that some of us do those things in our life, it may not be better for us to do that, because for us, those of us with Asperger's syndrome, if we can drive, if we're comfortable doing it and we do it fine, then that's fine, right? But if we're not comfortable driving, then we shouldn't do it, because we'd really be risking an accident with somebody else and getting killed or getting hurt. And if you don't feel comfortable doing something, it's best not to do it. Same thing with buying a house. I'm a very unorganized person. I have a hard time with the basic organization, things like doing chores, and I just finished mowing the lawn. I have a hard time with keeping the place organized. For me, chores are overwhelming. And for a house, it would be a bigger responsibility, because I would have like double the work to do. I'd have to mow the grass, I'd have to do chores around the house, I'd have to keep up the maintenance in the back, I'd have to spend all kinds of money to keep the place organized. And really, I'm not interested in that kind of stuff. I'm not interested in showing off my garden. I'm not interested in showing off my backyard or having people over for barbecues or whatever. Like, that stuff just doesn't interest me. So for me, it would be too overwhelming, to do all that when really it's not something I really want to do. It's more convenient for me to live in an apartment or a condo where, I have some stuff I have to look after in my own place, but that's it. I don't have anything else I have to worry about, And the same thing with, being in a relationship. I mean, it's something I definitely, want. I'd like to get married someday. However, you shouldn't have to, and those of us with Asperger's, we have a hard time with social skills as it is. And some of us don't want to be in a relationship because we have to live with somebody else that maybe we don't want to live with, or maybe, we have to really compromise, and our social skills would get in the way of that. And maybe we don't want to have to share our place with somebody else, or compromise with somebody else, our lifestyle, And same thing with having a family. I mean, I love my nephew and nieces, although I don't know if I want to be a parent because I don't know if I can handle the stress of having to look after a kid. I mean, I often worry about taking care of myself and having to bear that responsibility of looking after somebody else and just being stressed all the time to keep the kids under control and I just don't know if I want that extra burden, because for me it would be very overwhelming. I'd be scared, and my biggest fear is I'd be a bad parent, And I think there's other people who feel the same way, and I think people shouldn't have kids unless they're prepared to look after them and be responsible, and and so many kids are brought in this world for the wrong reasons, and these are things that I worry about. So I mean, I'm not sure if I want to have kids kind of for that reason, And when it comes to other things too, like sure, I'd like to be financially well off, but same thing, it's not that important to show off all kinds of different materialistic things all the time, So, I mean, I think it's probably best, to find something you like to do and just to do that in life and work, but whatever makes you more comfortable in life and makes things, makes you get through life a lot easier. I think it's the best way to do it. I mean, you only live once, and if you can find the things that make your life easier, it's better to do that rather than do what everybody else does and just be stressed all the time, So yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about that. I hope I wasn't rambling on about things all the time. So until I see you at the end of the week, bye for now.